really off topic. You know my dog,
Yeah.
Chanel? I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember her.
I remember your dog.
She is officially the oldest dog in the world.
What?
Yeah.
Your dog?
Well, the oldest Bichon Frise cross Shih Tzu.
Okay. So there's like a little.
It's still so cool though.
How old is she?
She's 18. So the oldest Bichon Frise cross Shih Tzu in the world died at 17. Her name was Delilah from the UK.
Oh, Delilah. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, Delilah. Chanel has outrun you. Like Chanel's also an anti-vaxxer. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
anti-vaxxer. Okay.
Yeah, we're not, but she is. I don't know about that. Anyway.
Yeah, she's an independent woman.
Independent woman.
Makes her own decisions.
Literally. Things like that. Yeah.
You did very beautiful there. Is she in the Guinness Book of Records?
Not yet, but she's about to be, that's for sure. My sister and I, sometimes she's a bit rude to us, the dog, so we don't really give her much attention. But then, yeah, she's a bit mean. But then now we suddenly found out she could maybe make us a few $1,000s. So we're like, she, hi.
Getting
Anyway.
exposed in the first minute.
Yeah. Yeah, don't add that in.
Okay. Let me do my little spiel.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Howdy, everyone. I've been saying howdy every time.
Howdy, let's get rowdy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Attitudes with Andy. You're with Andy and a special guest who I will intro in a moment. But this podcast is very exciting. If you are in your young 20s or you're just navigating your career, then I think you're really going to enjoy this podcast because we're going to be talking about knowing your worth, asking for what you want, setting boundaries, having balance, and kind of knowing when it might be time to leave your workplace and not just settle, because we're not about settling. We're about going after what lights your heart on fire and doing all of those things. Exactly. So I have the perfect person on. We have the beautiful Layla. She is a very old friend of mine. She's happy, she's bubbly, but God, she's ambitious AF. We try to reduce swearing here, but it never really works out, so don't worry.
That's okay.
But Layla has had a multiple of really good roles, and I feel like you've always done such a good job at just like knowing when it's time to just like push the boundaries, level up, and go for what you want. You are the ripe old age of
24.
24, and she is the business manager
Yes.
of High Smile.
Yes, I am. Correct.
24, business manager, High Smile. What the heck? So I won't intro too much because we're going to hear about your story, but welcome, Layla.
Thank you, Andy. So happy to be here. I feel like if you were to tell us when we were traveling the world at 18 together that we'd be here today, I actually wouldn't be surprised.
No, not at all.
Very us.
I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
that checks out.
Yeah, I love that. Love that.
Oh, I thought I'd turn the aircon off. I was like, it's really hot.
Yeah, it is. Is it off?
No.
Oh.
We're just getting nervous.
Never.
We're good. Okay, so first of all, I have many questions for you, but the first one I kind of want to know is, what is a business manager? Like, what are your tasks at High Smile?
Good question. So it's actually funny, when I came into the role, it was meant to be essentially like linking all of the big projects that we have for work together. So you have lots of different departments at High Smile. We've got like digital operations, creative, like the warehouse, all that kind of thing. So it was meant to be, if we have like a new launch for a product, making sure that each department is across it, knowing how we're going to get that out to the public, to the consumers, like correctly, smoothly, on time and everything. But I actually don't do any of that, which is so funny. So I came in, that's what I was meant to do. And then I ended up just finding like a real love for the people and culture side of it. So when I first came in, there was like a lot happening with people, and there's like over 50 people in that office. So I really decided, well, it's important to make sure that everyone's happy here. So for the projects to happen smoothly and for all of that to work well, we need the team to be happy. They need to feel content in their work. They need to feel heard, seen, all of that kind of thing. So I ended up literally doing that full time now. So my title is business manager, but what I really do is all of like the hiring, onboarding, making sure all of our processes are really nicely in place for the team, putting on events all the time. So we'll have like Wellness Wednesday where we have yoga instructors and masseuses come in for the team. We have like friends and family evenings every 6 months. So a really big part of what we do at High Smile is let's say if you're replying to an email at 9 p.m. when you're in bed with your partner or whatever it is, it's really fair that they understand who we are as a business and they feel a part of it as well. So it's not like this divide between work life and home life. It's more like they have so much respect for you and everyone you work with, and vice versa. Like, it makes it a really nice like cohesion between work and life. So for example, my partner will come to all the events. If he's driving past High Smile, he'll pop in, go say hi to the whole team, grab a coffee. We have a restaurant and cafe there. So it's very much like a really big community environment, where whether you're family, friends, partner, whatever, you all become one with the High Smile team. So that's a really big thing for us there. But yes, that's essentially what I do, is people and culture, but the original title is business manager. So take whatever you want with that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is so perfect for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny. We'll probably dive into this a bit later, but you get drawn to doing what you're passionate about. So like at every role that I've had before working at High Smile, I would have my role, but then I'd do people and culture on the side. So that was just like a little side thing that I'd love to do. All right, so let's say I was like in director of partnerships or whatever it is. In my like after work hours, I'd be like, right, what can we do for the team that's nice? I'm going to make cookies for everyone, or whatever that might be. So it's cool to have taken that hobby and that passion and making it into, you know, my full-time thing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's kind of like a little bit of human resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I think HR, I've never studied HR in my life. I don't know, like I'm not like a really big like procedures and, you know, that whole kind of by the book stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very much more chill. And I think that HR is really old, if I'm going to be honest, controversial. I think it's just so you're not treating people as people. You're more saying like, what's the policy in how a human needs to be treated? It's not taking it case by case. So I might have a team member in one department who has a different kind of personality trait to someone else in another department. They need to be cared for differently to how someone else does. They need to be spoken to, given feedback differently. So why would you just treat everyone like the same kind of policy? So I think it's about breaking it down, get rid of HR as people and culture, make sure your people are good, culture's good, and then really watch the difference in a company if your team are happy. That's what I reckon.
So good, because it's so evident. I cannot remember who I was speaking to, but I was speaking to somebody who like used to work at High Smile, and it was before you started, and they literally said how different the culture was. They were like, "Oh, I left High Smile just before Layla got here, and then Layla was changing things up for the better. Not that it was like, bad or anything, but I think it just wasn't their cup of tea. And then they saw, the changes you were making, and they were like, damn.
That's so
That's
nice.
so good.
Yeah, I feel like we just put more of a focus. There's definitely nothing bad with it before, but it was more that there was such a big focus on the business, and then now we just have another focus, which is on the people side, which honestly every single company needs. Like, to have an efficient team, you need to have a happy team. So,
100%.
Yeah.
I always say you can have the best job in the world, but if you have a shitty work environment and bad people around you, you will despise it.
And you won't be productive either.
No.
Who would actually want to work if you don't like who you're working for, you don't like what you're doing, you don't like who you're around? Sorry, I'm not going to work. Why would anyone else?
Yeah. Whereas on the other hand, I've had jobs where it's like, I'm not like, loving what I'm doing, but the environment and my bosses have been amazing and like actually care about you and treat you so well. And then you just want to do so well because you're like, you just want to give back because you just feel so loved and appreciated.
It makes a really, really big difference, because even in your toughest days, everyone has jobs that they don't like to do. In my role, I definitely have jobs that I'm like, I find it really hard to go find really great talent. Like, I don't like just sitting looking for talent. That's something not my favorite thing to do. But when the times are that I'm doing that, I look around, I look who I work with, I look who I work for, and I'm like, it's worth it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's really important to feel that, especially if you're working a 9 to 5 and not going out on your own. You want to make sure you feel that fulfillment in more places than one.
I love that. I think a lot of people sometimes think that they have to like go out on their own and like make their own business in order to be like successful. But I think, what are your thoughts on that?
Such an interesting topic that I've definitely toyed with so much in my mind. I have so many different people around me, all different career paths, and different work styles, different life balances and things like that. So you can be successful in anything you do. No matter what your role is, you can be the best at it, literally no matter what you do. But I think that you need to choose depending on your personality And I don't think that gets touched on enough. But for example, like I've had millions of business ideas that I want to come up with and, you know, run with and things like that. But where I am in my life and who the kind of person I am and my personality, I thrive when I'm around people. I understand that when you're starting your own business and stuff like that, it can be that really lonely feeling perhaps, and you don't have much interaction time with other people. And the thing for me is I need that. So I love going to work every day. I love working regimented hours, knowing that every day I'm going to show up to a beautiful office. I have an amazing team. I have beautiful connections and relationships with them, and I can get my job done. I just really personally enjoy that. My life is filled with individual purpose in other parts of my life, so I don't really need that from my work. But yeah, I feel like it really depends on your personality, and you can be successful working for someone. Like my sister works in like a really big corporate job, so she is absolutely killing it, but she's not necessarily working for someone. Or even Matt, my partner, he's a doctor, so he is at the hospital. Like we all have really, really different lives. My uncle's an amazing photographer. He is out on his own, but it's just what suits your personality, I guess, should reflect your your career choice as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like, I think you are one of the first people I've had on the podcast that works like a normal 9 to 5.
Yeah, right.
And so I really wanted to get you on to show people that like, yeah, not a lot, but like people, it's okay to go down that path. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually you're so successful.
Yeah.
And knowing what it suits, because like going off by yourself is scary. You'd like, there's not much security. Whereas like, some people thrive in that, and some people like that sounds like hell. So I agree. It's like knowing
100%.
what works for you.
Like know your personality. But do you know what's really funny as well? I think it depends on who you're around. So I've had a period of my life about 3 years ago where I was around a lot of people who were all really entrepreneurial, all worked for themselves. No one worked a 9 to 5. That makes you also get in that mindset. And it's really, really cool because then you all have each other. So you don't really feel like that lack of connection because you're all maybe sitting at a cafe working your own businesses together. That's sick. Like I literally love that. So that's a really big part of it. But then I really think also it depends on your surroundings. Like, excuse me, my personal surroundings, like we all work in careers that are like working, you know, whether it be at the hospital if you're Matt, my sister corporate, myself at High Smile. So to have that like individual workspace isn't, you know, what we all do. So it's kind of like you'd be really, really different. So also your surroundings, I think, play a big part to that. But I never think one should be deemed successful or like unsuccessful. Like just because you work for someone else, not at all.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's actually really empowering because you get to learn so much. You get to be around amazing people. Like it really just depends on how you think about it. And if you want to be there, it's great. But if you don't want to be there and if you don't enjoy what you do, then go do your own thing. Do you know what I mean? Don't think about what anyone else says you should do, what society thinks you should do working for yourself in a business. You have to suit to your own personality and your own surroundings, 100%.
Definitely. Yeah, I think there's just been a huge like maybe like culture shift of like glamorizing like entrepreneur and being your own boss. And then it's just like, but does that actually work for everyone?
Yeah, it's got its perks for sure. But also what can be nice is like sometimes if you're doing that, you can never really clock off from that either, you know? So everything has its perks and everything, you know, has its, you know, weaknesses or whatever. But yeah, I really just think it depends on your personality.
I agree. So when you first started working full time, I've actually had a few people message me being like, can you do a podcast on like going from like graduate life to working full time? Because that would be a huge shock to the system. A lot of my friends say that you were exhausted for the first like maybe like 3 months or something just because you're just not used to working that much and that long of hours. And then you like get better at it. And they were like, you have so much less free time. So you have to be really fussy with what you take on. What was that like going full time and how do you have balance? Sorry, I'm just adding things.
No, I love that. I think it's I really think it depends on what your life has been growing up. So I can speak to myself and then I can speak to like another experience I've seen. But like for example, my first ever job was Build-A-Bear. So I would work, so if I wasn't at school, which kind of feels like a full-time job, I'd then be working at Build-A-Bear at like on the evenings and then on the weekends. So I knew from when I was in grade 8 that I wanted to move to London. When I graduated school, do the whole gap year, I was like, I need to start saving from now. So I always had working a big part of my life.
Wait, in what year?
Grade 8.
Grade 8, you
I
knew
got
that
my
you wanted to go to London.
Yeah, because my sister had done it, and I was like, I'm going to do the same.
Oh, like the gap year that we did.
Yeah. So I was like so young, and I was like, I'm going to follow my sister's footsteps. Yeah, so I always knew that's what I wanted to do. And then, so I've always had that kind of working experience. And then obviously over there we did that. And I worked a lot as well while I was at uni. So I've always had that a really big part of my life. But how I get through it is knowing what to say no to and what to say yes to. Like, you need to understand, okay, I don't have much free time. So when I do have free time, what do I want to be doing with that free time? What fills my cup? What will rejuvenate me? What will not make me feel too exhausted? What will give me purpose? Will I be happy going to work the next week knowing that I did X, Y, Z, when I had some spare time? So I think that's a really big part of it. But I also think for people who are coming into working full-time from studying, do not be afraid of the shock that your body will feel, because that's so normal. Like when you go from a hot climate to a cold climate, your body goes into shock, but then you acclimatize and you get used to it. The exact same as when you go from being a student, having that more fun. It's a part of growth. It's a part of life. And just know that you'll get used to it one day and build a routine that works for you, because everyone at my work has all different routines, but then we all come to the same place and it's what works for us. So I was really used to working full time from I feel like a bit of a younger age, whereas my partner went from being a student, like a med student. So it was like obviously a bit of study, but it wasn't too intense in his final year because he was doing placement, to now working full time, and the hours that he works as a doctor are really crazy. And he felt that really big shock. It was only about 2 weeks that he was in shock for, but he was just getting used to it, being like, oh, and I just kept saying, in 3 weeks, you'll get used to it and you'll know, and you're not going to freak out anymore. So it's just about trusting the process. Your body's climatizing, but build a routine that works for you. And you're going to feel exhausted and you're going to probably cry and get really tired, but it's all okay. And it's a part of just growing up a little bit that way. Yeah.
That sounds very comforting to hear.
Yeah.
That, look, there's nothing wrong with you.
Honestly, you are not alone. Everyone you're sitting with a desk beside, or whether you're a co-working space or at a cafe with someone else working on their laptop, like everyone has gone through that shock. You are not alone. So just handle it. Do you know what I mean? Like, just know, okay, what can I do that's going to make me happy in my spare time? And this is really exciting. Hell yeah, I've got a job. That's also really exciting that you have a job. There are so many countries we can go to. People are really struggling to find jobs. So be proud of yourself for getting that job. And then just, take it on the chin. Yeah.
I also feel like maybe having those set hours makes you have to have a routine. So then you're kind of more productive.
I agree. I'm going to be fully transparent. I do not have the best solid routine in my life. I wish I did. And it's something I really want to work on this year. But I think that if you don't, that's also okay. I think that there's that stigma between you go on TikTok, this is my morning routine. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go for my walk and I make my bed and I do my little, people do this kind of thing every single day. But sometimes you wake up and it might feel a little bit different. You don't want to do that. Your body's telling you otherwise, or you're extra tired. You had a late night. I kind of do my day as per how I'm feeling. I should probably regiment it a little bit more. But I also think that if you're not in the strictest routine, but everyone around you is, don't worry about it. Do you know what I mean? As long as if it works for you, don't feel pressured by what everyone else is doing in their jobs around you at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
So good. So you are the business manager, you're 24. Let's scoot back to uni.
Yeah.
And kind of get the story of the places you've worked at.
I feel like I've had such a random career.
Yes. And every time I see you, I'm like,
what? You're like, how did you get there?
No, literally, I love it.
So first ever job was Build-A-Bear. Love it. If you know me, that is the most predictable job that I could have. Everyone's like, of course you worked at Build-A-Bear. So we had these suits we'd have to put on. It was the full teddy bear suits.
No.
And you walk around the shopping centres and you're like, come to Build-A-Bear. They were so hot. We'd have to wrap ourselves in ice packs before we got on. Iconic. Anyway, so that's where I started and loved it. Had to like sing happy birthday to all the kids. We had this special bear song. Like I was thriving. So worked for that, worked at Build-A-Bear, and then I also picked up a job at Seed, so like the clothing store. So
Very you as well.
very, very me. So then did that for years until I went on gap year, and then I worked in the UK. I came back and I went to college. So I went to a women's college. Obviously, we also know each other from college. Good times. So went to college, but I actually had to I put myself through college. So I didn't have financial support from my parents at that time. And that was
for context, college is around like 22 grand.
22K a year.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, she's hefty.
She's hefty, but she's worth it.
Yeah, she's a thick mama, but she was worth it. So I was putting myself through college, and I was like, well, I'm going to need to obviously work a lot to be able to make ends meet. I'm someone who I'll never deprive myself of an opportunity and be like, oh, woe is me. That can't happen. It's like, no, well, I'm going to do this. It's just a matter of like, how can I get it done? Do you know what I mean?
How can we make it work?
Yeah, exactly. So I remember I was like, I was a mess. I was like bawling my eyes out because I was like, I realized one day, oh, I actually can't afford college. And I was loving it. And I just saw it and I was like, ends aren't going to meet. I'm going to have to leave. I didn't know what to do. So I quickly went and printed out my resume. I was walking around Brisbane City and it felt like a movie. It started like bucketing down, raining, and I've got my resume and I was like, just like walking through the city, like literally crying. I was like, nowhere like is hiring. Like this is cooked. Then I walked past this like brownie, like a little brownie store. It was called I Heart Brownies. And I walked past this lady and she goes to me, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then she was like, what's up? And she was really kind. And then I was like, I'm just looking for a job. And she was like, well, I'm actually hiring. I was like, what? I was like, hello.
This is definitely something from a movie.
Literally. And Lulu, her name's Lulu. She was amazing. And she's the owner of this store. She never ever worked at the kiosk store. She always worked at the head office. But that one day, no one else could do shifts. So she was on. We always say it was fate. So then I ended up picking up this job at I Heart Brownies, which was like so cute. It was like selling all different flavored brownies to people, whatever. And then one day I was like, who's running our social media? Like, let me help out with it. So then I ended up becoming like the marketing manager at I Heart Brownies. So doing all of our socials and partnerships and that kind of thing, which was really, really fun. So I was able to put myself through college for 2 years off doing that, and had Lulu as the most amazing mentor as well. So it was a really beautiful relationship that we created there. And then I ended up moving back to the Gold Coast. That was around the time of COVID and things like that. Left college. So I came home and I got a job doing some marketing and like receptionist at Medland Orthodontics, which is like orthodontic clinic.
What were you studying at uni?
I studied at uni the whole time. Bachelor of Communications, majoring in advertising and PR.
Okay, so it was quite like marketing and socials a little bit.
But they didn't teach you anything at uni.
No, seriously, what does uni teach you?
Sorry, not sure. Literally, and I also don't have any friends from uni, like apart from college, but because on campus, like we didn't really end up going on campus because everything went online.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, didn't make that many friends and didn't learn anything that I needed to know, but that's okay.
But the experience, like I'm grateful that I went there.
So grateful.
Yeah.
Because I got to go to college.
No, literally, if it wasn't for college, I don't think I would have finished uni.
Yeah, I really think it depends on what you're studying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what industry you're going into. Like if you're an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, you probably have to go to uni. Yeah. But if you're doing marketing, girl, just don't worry about it.
No, literally.
But yes, I was doing uni the whole time. And then I went to Medlands and then worked there heaps. Saved up $20,000 to buy myself a nose job. So that was my next big tick.
That's a huge amount of money to save up. How long did it take you?
Well, I've always been a saver, like massively. But it took me like maybe like 10 months or something. I just saved every single penny that I made and I worked nonstop.
Because you were living at home.
I was living at home, which I was really, really blessed and fortunate to have like my family to move in with. And then from there, I reached out to a friend who worked at a marketing agency. I was like, hey, look, I'm looking for a job. I really want to do internships. Now, internships are very important. Always intern, because that way you find out what careers you enjoy, what jobs you like, what jobs you don't like. Do an internship.
Without the commitment.
Without the commitment, exactly. So I interned being a journalist, Channel 9. Like I did every single random internship you can think of, and it helped me narrow down to find my career. So it's
you
just
tasted all the ice cream flavors.
You literally have all the little tasty wasties, but you don't really necessarily have to commit to anything. There you go. Life hack 101.
I love this. No commitment, baby.
No commitment.
But she's very committed.
Committed, but uncommitted. I'm committed to that, obviously. Uncommitted to internships. So yeah, did that, and then ended up getting a job there. So I was doing ads, like doing interning, doing ads, and I was so bad at ads. Like did like Facebook ads and stuff. Oh, terrible. I was good at writing copy, but the rest not good. So then it was a bit like, oh, I think my old boss and I were both like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. I was like, oh, this is good. And then I saw that they were looking for someone to do like all the partnerships, so like working with other businesses and stuff. Then I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I was shit at ads, but I can do the partnership side. He was like, all right, let's try that out. And then we did that, and we worked as a team, and just like it was really, really awesome. So
this is when you were still at uni?
This is when I was still at uni. So I ended up going straight into full-time work still at uni.
How many subjects were you doing at uni?
4.
So you were doing full-time uni and full-time work?
Yes, but uni was online at this point because of COVID. So I was just like catching up on everything after hours. I was skimming through by the skin of my teeth, honestly. But at that point, I was like, I'm already working, like, you know, whatever.
What are they going to do? I always say, fours open doors, baby.
Diamonds are made under pressure. That was my thing.
Ooh.
When I was writing my assignments and it was like 11:58 and I've still got 10 paragraphs to go, I'd be like, diamonds are made under pressure. Let's go. So, yeah, never stress about it, literally.
When you give yourself a minimal amount of time to do something, you get it done.
Yeah. Either way, you're going to get it done. Why waste so much more time thinking about it?
Or procrastinate. You don't have time for that.
You don't have time to procrastinate. Just like wait till the very, very last minute and then do it.
That's why I always say at uni, get a job, be busy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you will not get shit done.
Yeah, you're going to procrastinate either way.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I was not one of those nerds. It was like, oh my God, my assignment's done 3 weeks in advance. I've got 3 weeks to draft it and read through it. No thanks. I did one proofread and now it's off it goes.
Yeah. Grammarly, that's good enough.
Oh, I don't even know if I use that. But yeah, so then I worked at a digital marketing agency for over a year. And
is this the same one that you interned with? This is the same one. Yeah. Is this agency?
Yeah. Okay. So it's now called Dunk.
Oh, we're saying it. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure you were keeping
secretive. No, so.
Oh my gosh, you know what I need to include?
Oh.
The ad that I made for Top Tier Marketing.
No, that was iconic. Okay, hear me out. So I'm like checking emails and stuff. And I think, you sent it to me. And he was like, oh, I want to like apply at Top Tier. And I was like, girl, send it all over. She makes the coolest video. We were all around the laptop watching it over and over and over. Can you explain it with your grandma? It was the best thing I've ever seen.
Okay, so this is when I just graduated uni and I was in England at the time visiting my fan band before I was like trying to find a big girl job.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I'll have a bit of stuff in marketing. Maybe I'll try marketing. And then I was like, oh, I'll apply for Top Tier Marketing. So because I saw they had a position open. So then I was like, oh, I can't just send in my resume. I need to do something special. So I was like, I'll make an ad for them, like a mini ad. So I got my granny, who is like, she's British, she's posh, very posh.
Oh,
she has tea. She says darling.
Yeah. Very posh.
Very
She's
posh.
Amazing.
And her house is very posh. So I was like, perfect. So then I got her, it's like a 20-second video.
Yeah.
And she's like, Top Tier Marketing. Yeah. And then she's like, marketing done differently. And she's like, cheers to that, darling. Anyway, I'll post it on my Instagram so you guys can see it. And I'll say, this is in reference.
This is in reference. It was so great. Like, it was honestly the best thing I've ever seen. Anyway, we didn't end up hiring for that role. So
no, I sent it. And then they were like, oh, we literally just hired someone yesterday.
Yeah,
so,
that's
because I sent it like day of. So maybe don't send it the day it's
maybe
due.
A few days earlier is always awesome.
Yeah, well, I didn't see it until plus like getting Granny to do it all.
Yeah, you got to get her
so cute.
the right script. No, everyone has to watch it. It was the cutest video ever. So I worked there for quite a while. And the team grew so much when we were there. Like, it was just the best place. We were all thriving and it was just so, so fun. So I do the partnerships and I love like the people and culture side on the side of that as well. And then I just decided it was kind of time for me to move on from there. Like, I just didn't feel like I was growing enough in my role, and I realized I wasn't exactly that passionate about what I was doing. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to do it well. Simple as that. Like, you have to be, it has to come within you. What I always say, would I do this if I'm not getting paid for it? Would I do this in my personal hours? Like, am I going to be researching this? Am I going to be looking it up? Like, will I do it when I'm not meant to be doing it? And that's how you know that if you're not, you're literally just doing it because it's a job and you have to do it. But if you're doing it in your spare time, it's because you're genuinely passionate about it, and that's when you'll do really well at something. So it kind of came to a point where my role was just, it wasn't really me anymore, but I really struggled because I loved the team. These guys were like family. Like, oh my goodness, it was every day coming to work. It was like going to a playground. You're like, hell yeah, I'm with my besties. Like, it was so much fun. Made the best lifelong friends there. So that's a really hard battle. It's like, I'm not feeling fulfilled in what I'm doing every day, but I love where I'm going. Like, that was a really hard thing to kind of like overcome. And it was lots of discussions with like my partner and things like that. And he was like, you know, you have to always also think long term. Your friends are going to be there forever. But like, how do you need to come home every day feeling that excitement and fire in your belly? When you're not happy in your work, you also take that home. And I'd go home and I'd be like, oh, I just didn't feel like I did that well today. And those little things that can sometimes also affect your relationship life, because your partner never wants you to be unhappy in your role, and you're, you know, can be complaining, and it was just completely a personal thing. So I just thought, look, this is time for me to, you know, go and try something new. So I actually left and had accepted a role with Channel 9, which I was so excited for. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is so me.
To do what?
I was going to be in their, it was like PR and partnerships and like collaborations with all different companies. It was like it's like a more officey role, but you'd be out all the time at events and stuff with Channel 9. So I was like, this suits my personality perfectly. And then High Smile reached out. They're like, hey, I would love to interview you, heard about you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
hello.
And then I thought I already accepted this other role. It's fine. Like, no. And then I thought, actually, I looked back and I had this list of companies I wanted to work on. I wrote it in like, I don't know, grade 12 or something. And High Smile was on the list. And I was like, do you know what? Just go have a suss, see what's going on. Walked in, met the boys, saw everything. And I was like, this place is awesome. So ended up doing a bit of a, you know, scoot back and accepted the role with High Smile. And yeah, I've never regretted it since. So then that's how I'm here today.
And that's how I got here today.
That's how I got here.
And that brings us to the sponsor of this podcast. But High Smile, if you.
So yeah, and then now I just love what I do, and I do people and culture in my spare time. I technically do that at home with my family, always doing that kind of stuff. So it's nice to get paid for something you're passionate about. It makes going to work a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's huge that you left Dunk Agency, even though you were like, I love the culture and I love the people, because I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I'll just stay a few more years and get some experience, or, you know, like just kind of settle. Whereas you were like, no.
Yeah, I'll tell you when to know when to go.
Okay.
I have this mentor. His name's Ben. I worked with him at Dunk. He always said to me, know your exit points. So if you're at a job and you are starting to get that little niggle that you're not too happy, you have to create an exit point for yourself. So if this happens again, or if I don't get this that, you know, they've promised me by this date, you have to have like a metric. So figure that out, and that is your exit point. So then when it gets to that date, when it gets to that conversation, when it gets to whatever it is, and you've said, if this happens or if this doesn't happen, I will leave, that's when you leave. So say I'm going to stick it out until XYZ, and then that's when you know to go. So that's a really comforting thing that I went through, was knowing I always make myself an exit point. So know what would drive me to leaving. And then when that happens, you go, okay, now it's time for me to go. So don't just keep on holding on. Go, oh, it might change in 6 months. Oh, that might happen. Know yourself, know your own worth, and know when it's good to stay and when it's good to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good. Because I feel that it could be very tempting to be like, oh, but they do this and this, you know. It's kind of like being in a relationship that's like kind of like mediocre, and you're like, oh, but this and that.
Oh, 100%. Oh, that literally, jobs can really be similar to relationships. Well, you spend more time at them than you do with your own partner.
Oh, true.
So, so just always know your exit point. know what works for you and know when to leave, really.
Well, this is great that you're that you're like the people and culture, because I have a few questions for you that might like help people.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is, if you're in a workplace environment and there's somebody there who is just like just not being very nice to you for no reason and they're just being a bit of a bully, what do you do about that?
Oh, good question. We've all experienced it.
Asking for a friend. I'm not experiencing this now, but like the place that's down the road, one of the girls, they were really mean, and they were mean to everyone, including the boss, and the boss didn't stand up for themselves.
Oh my gosh.
And she would be mean to him in front of like in meetings and stuff.
Oh my gosh. Firstly, how do people like that get through in life?
I
don't understand.
Don't know, but I would like want to work from home to avoid her.
How can you have that much, like, how can you go to work every day being like, hell yeah, everyone around me hates me. Awesome. I hate that.
Imagine just listening.
Yeah. Girl.
You know who you are.
Yeah. Fix yourself. So the biggest thing that I would say when working with someone, because firstly, we're not all going to get along. You might be, I think someone said this about Beyonce somewhere. Maybe I said it. I don't know. You can be the juiciest apple on the tree, but not everyone likes apples. Do you know what I mean? So no one's going to get along with everyone in the workplace. That's just how it is. But I think that you just have to, it has to be though, like, you need to still have that mutual kind of like respect for each other in a way and work amicably together. So if you can try and discover where the problem might be coming from, do that. Like, see if that's it. And if you can address it for something that can be addressed, if it's that obvious, address it. If not, you just have to 100% stay true to who you are and how you work and stand up for yourself. Some people who are really confident, they can be like the bullies if they're the confident ones. And they can often think, oh, I'm stronger, I'm more powerful, I can get at them. You have to grow that backbone and stand up for yourself. Because if you're a bit of a bully and someone's standing up for themselves, they're not going to keep going. They're going to keep attacking the weaker ones. So always just like, you have to find it within yourself. If you 100% know like, hey, I didn't deserve to be spoken to like that, you have to rebut. Or like, you have to just like do everything really respectfully, but don't let someone just walk all over you. And then once they realize that you're not that kind of person they can mess with, they will back off you. And I think that like, because I've 100% walked into workplaces where people think that they can do that. And then it's really easy to go in your shell and be like, oh, and you get nervous around them and you start trembling. And then you'd be like, wait, why am I nervous around you? Like, how did this power dynamic form? Just because you have this bit of a, that confidence about you and you think that you can treat me like this. No, you cannot. Like, no, I'm going to stand up for myself, and that's how you go about it. I really just do that all the time. I'm like, you have no reason why you can treat me that way. So definitely just like, you got to find the strength within yourself, but also just, if you know you're not doing anything wrong, keep going and just say, if anything, this comes from my grandma. She's the best woman on this planet.
She's so adorable.
Oh my gosh, she's literally like a goddess. So my grandma always says, so my family surname is Graeb. That's my mum's side of the family. And we have a really strong family. She always goes, you're a Graeb. If like when this guy one day ended things with me, I was like a bit sad. And she goes, oh, poor him. Like that, I feel really sorry for him. He just broke up with a Graeb. Like, that's terrible. And I was like, yeah, so true. So if anyone's ever like mean to me or something, I go, I'm a Graeb. Like, I feel so sorry for them. They don't really see my worth. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of reverse and be like, hold on. They are so dumb for treating me like this because I've got this power to me. So find what your power is, whether it's like your family who gives you that power or yourself, or I've done this, like, they're the silly ones for being able to treat me like that. Yeah, that's how I'd go about it.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful, knowing your worth and being like, actually, no, I deserve better.
Oh, literally anything anything can happen. I can miss my flight. And I'm like, that's so silly. They didn't, the Grabe didn't get on the flight. Like, you just find it in anything.
They're lost. They're like, bro, you were literally late.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's silly. So yeah, just know your worth. Just be strong in who you are.
Okay, that's good. And even what if like someone's new and straight off the bat someone's bullying? You know what I mean? Like if you're new to the workplace and then you're like, oh, can I stand up? That's the time when you probably need to be like,
yeah.
firm.
Are you saying they're new or you're new?
Like say like I was new to the workplace and she was mean, okay?
Oh yeah, okay. I know exactly what you mean. Also, always find like a work buddy.
Yeah.
Like everyone needs a work buddy.
Yeah.
In my role, my whole intention is to be everyone's work buddy. So it's like, what are the questions that you always want to ask on your first day that you can never ask? I literally have a whole meeting on someone's first day at the end of the day, so we can come and talk about that. Because I'm like, what do you feel nervous to ask? I'm your person you can ask about that. So if someone else feels that same way as well, it's nice to just like, no, okay, it's not an attack at me. This is who they are. But also find their kind spot, find their soft spot, find how you can maybe build a relationship with them. Because a lot of bullies also stem from anxiety or it's a reflection on themselves. So it's actually not a reflection on you. It's about who they are as a person. They could be struggling with something. They could have really low self-esteem. You don't know what it is. So you have to find how you can connect with them and almost like help them in a way. Because if someone's natural state is to become a bully, they do need a bit of help. We have to be honest. Like that's not very kind. So it's like you can also try and be that voice of reason and try and maybe soften them up in a way or break them down and see what is at the core. So I always do, because I'm like, this is a bit of a you problem. This is not a me problem.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you to be able to react this way, especially if I'm so new? I've done nothing yet to upset you or hurt you.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's coming from you.
I like that.
Yeah.
And at what point do you maybe get other people involved?
Oh, if it's like a direct attack at you, if they're like accusing you of anything or literally making you feel rubbish at work or anything like that, and it's affecting your work, you take it to someone who you feel comfortable to take it to within the business, and then ask maybe like a mentor or something how to go through it, because they would obviously know that person as well. Always speak up. Don't just let something sit, fester in you, upset you, and you leave. No. Like you have every right to discuss it as well, and come to like a good resolution.
Love that.
Always.
Okay, next question I have is
Oh, nervous.
money.
Oh.
So I used to accept jobs and not ask how much I get paid because I'd be like, oh no, that looks bad. That looks like I only care about money. When in reality, guys, we're working to earn money. Yeah, you want to volunteer. Whereas like now, I will very happily, ask.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts around that? What is your recommendations for people?
You look sillier if you accept a job without asking about money.
Cool.
You look sillier because that means you don't know your worth.
Yes.
And worth comes in many different forms. It's not just financial. But if that's not a topic of conversation, like you have to know what you're worth. You have to know your skill set, and it has to also be like valid. Like it can't be something stupid, and you can't oversell necessarily too much or undersell yourself. Like you have to believe what you're worth, and then you'll also work to that, et cetera, et cetera. But if someone's coming, and also know what you're willing to accept and take before going into a job interview. So know that this is my skill set. This is how many years I've done this, X, Y, Z. I think I'm worth about this much. The lowest I'm happy to take is this, blah, blah, blah. And then when you go in, you can have that mindset. I also really love when people are transparent, because I do all the hiring at High Smile. I love when someone comes in with full transparency and they're like, look, this is like what I would be willing to take. This is why, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't waste, like it then avoids wasting anyone's time, because if it's something completely out of reach for us or whatever it is, at least we've addressed that. I'm like, good on you for knowing your worth. And do you know what I mean? Like it should never be a sensitive topic because everyone is battling it. I honestly reckon you look less confident and you look a bit weaker if you don't have that kind of strength to you on knowing how much you're worth. It's such an awkward topic though. God, you hate it. It's so awkward. You hate bringing up. Even on the phone sometimes I'm like, so how much do you want?
Yeah.
But you just have to say it with confidence, because at the end of the day, we're not all volunteers. We're all here to work and make money, but just be true to yourself and know your worth. That's it. Financially, in life, whatever. Always know where you stand.
Okay. And then what about when you've been working there maybe like 6 or 7 months and you're not actually that happy with your pay, but you took it to get like the experience and prove like that you're worthy of the job? At what point can you or should you like ask for a pay rise?
Okay, if you're feeling like you're working more than what you're getting, remunerated for, you need to make sure obviously it lines up, otherwise you will lose that bit of motivation. I once made this mistake and I always look back on it and I laugh. I'm like, oh, what did I think was going to happen? And when I went and I was like, hey, can I get a pay rise? It was like one of my older jobs. And they can't just suddenly go, yeah, like it doesn't work like that. If you want to do it properly, you go to firstly, it's a shame that your employer can't see that you're working at and hasn't come to you. That's a really big thing at High Smile is the team will often just go straight to that person and be like, hey, we see what you're doing. Here you go. And that's a really, really nice
That's
thing.
really beautiful.
Ours is more the opposite approach. So like we'll address the team member. No one really ever has to come to us. So that's a really very beautiful way that if you're a business owner, please operate like that. Don't take your team for granted because they will leave and there's no point. But if you do feel like you're in a position where you need to ask, don't just go in and ask for one. You go in and you ask for a meeting and say, hey, I am really, really loving what I'm working on and I feel like I have excelled so much since working here. I've like grown and I'm being able to add a lot more value to the team. What steps can I now take moving forward to continue that growth as I would love my, intellect growth and everything, all the learning I've done to also be like seen in my pay or something like that. So really just say that you would love to hit this amount or whatever. How can I get there? Or, what does the next steps look like for me? And kind of just show I want to work now. What can I do to get to that point? So put it more in the work point because you have to think of a business owner and how they want to be spoken to, not just here, give me more money. It's like, what more can I do for you to deserve that?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't suit you, well then go, well, it's not for me. Or if you think it's worth it, then stay, like you can only judge based on, how you feel case by case.
Okay. That's cool. What about taking like lunch breaks and stuff? Because I've been at workplaces where people will like pretty much all eat lunch at the desk and then it's kind of normalized to not take a break.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. Cancel that culture. No way. I could not relate to that any less, honestly, especially being at High Smile and even at where I was at Top Tier, which is now rebranded to Dunk. It was a really big thing and it was like such an exciting time because our culture was really good. I think of people taking their lunch breaks at their desk, it's a really big reflection on the culture because a lot of people don't feel comfortable to go and like obviously hang out with the rest of your team. Obviously work time isn't being managed well enough or there's too much on their plate. They feel like they need to work through that half an hour or whatever it is. At High Smile, we have a cafe and like restaurant. So we get we can get breakfast, lunch and dinner every day. So we get
for free.
Well, it's like a few dollars. It's like nothing.
Wow.
So we get a menu that comes out and then we will choose what we want for the day. And then we have like our beautiful team, Lance and Diogo, they will make all the food. And then every lunchtime we all finish at 12 o'clock and we'll all go sit outside on these beautiful picnic tables and we'll all have our shared lunch and it's a really nice talking point. Like, what did you order today? Oh, that was so good, blah, blah, blah. And then lunchtimes are the best. Like we have so much fun. Really great time to clock off. The boys are all having big table tennis competitions. We're all having like some random chit chat. We'll play conversation cards. It's really, really nice. So I think that if you're not taking your lunch breaks, it's literally a reflection on either the culture on where you are or the like your balance of like your time, I guess. If you really can't take that hour, why? Like what's going on? Are you being given too much or are you not managing your time well enough? But most definitely take them for your own mental health as well. You have to take them. No one can work like 8 hours a day straight without just having a bit of a clock off time.
No, definitely. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. What about people kind of letting their boss know how they operate? So I'll give an example. I used to not do this and now I do this where like I tell my boss, hey, I am most productive in the morning and then in the afternoon my energy dwindles. So I'm going to do like the hardest brain consuming stuff in the morning and then I'm going to go to the gym at lunchtime because I have to do that because I just can't sit still. So I go to the gym in my lunch break and then I will like eat lunch like at my desk in the arvo because I've taken my lunch break, which is fine. And then I'll just do like the less thinking stuff in the arvo. And then he's like so respectful of it. And then if we need to have like a meeting in the afternoon, he'll be like, oh, okay, like what time are you back from like the gym? Like he just like knows what's going on and is super respectful of it. And I used to like not understand that you can literally ask for what you want.
Yeah.
Is that normal and like is that a good thing to communicate?
I think it's really dependent on where you're working as well and the scale of the business. So when you're in a place, for example, like High Smile, there's 50 of us. Now you might work one way, but you have 50 other people who are working a bit of a different way to you, and we can't accommodate do you know what I mean? So I think you have to, before you work somewhere, figure out how the company operates. To know you're going to slide into that, because you're, I guess, talking from a point of you guys, obviously it's like quite a small team. It's you and your boss. You work really closely together. We work with so many people every single day. Understand how the company works before you go there, and then know if that's going to suit you or not. And then when you're there, you need to be, as at High Smile, we work very much. We're very big team workers. It's not much individual work. So we're all kind of like on the same momentum together. So if you're in a bigger company, understand how they work. If you're an individual, definitely communicate that and be like, definitely show your eagerness and keenness to get the jobs done and stuff. Be like, all right, let's start in the morning. This is when I blah, 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 blah. And, work to your strengths. You don't have to, fall into someone else's. If it is that bit of a smaller place. But definitely understand your surroundings first.
Yeah, I like that. So maybe in the job interview, ask about what that is.
100%. But also, you shouldn't be micromanaged too much, where if you're in a job where you're being micromanaged when they're telling you when and when not to do tasks, that's also a little bit annoying. Like in my day, I'll know what I need to do because I figure it out. And then I know how my energy levels are and when I should do X, Y, Z. I'm very self-managed. Yeah. And I think if you're working a full-time job and you're independent, and you're not interning, you also should probably have that bit of freedom to understand your own times as well. Definitely.
I like that. Your office space sounds so cool, by the way.
Oh, it's like everyone's like, this is the Google of the Gold Coast. I'm like, it's the Google of Australia. It's actually sick. We have a lab, we have a studio as well. So we have all of our content created in-house. Cool. We've got the cafe and the restaurant. We have a gym. We have the warehouse. We've got all the meeting spaces. It's just the most beautiful, beautiful office. The boys have done an amazing job at really creating that space for us, because if you're spending that much time in an office, you want it to be enjoyable and you want it to not interfere too much with your home life. Their whole messaging, and at High Smile, what we believe is, how can we make someone's out of life easier for them? You spend so much of your life at work. So how can we make those external things easier? None of us have to worry about meal prep anymore. Sundays for us, we get to completely enjoy it with our friends, family, partner, because we're not worrying about meal prep, because we get that luxury at work. Little
That's
things
so
like that are really important. If it's time to get your flu shot, we organise for everyone to get their flu shot at work. All those little things that would have really frustrated you in your outside life that take up that time, we kind of help that as well. So that's just such a rare, beautiful thing that, we're very lucky to have.
So good.
Yeah, taking but we're also a very, very high performance work culture. So one person might have one role in another company. That role could be divided between 3 or 4 people. So it's also really nice that everyone works super, super hard. You have to be a high performing person to work there. But that also comes back as well. And we get rewarded for it. So yeah, it's really, really cool spot. If anyone wants a job, just send me an email.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes.
That's fantastic. Holy shit, we've been recording for nearly an hour.
What?
That's flown by.
Time flies when you're having fun. How are you enjoying your work?
I'm really good, good. Yeah, because I have that role, the PA role, and then I also do team building for companies, which is really fun. So it's a good mix for me, because I'm very much need a lot of diversity.
Yeah, totally. I feel like having a diverse role on the same is so much fun, because no days feel the same. You don't get too boring, bored or stagnant. It's oh, we can do this today, that today. And I think that people like us, we need that.
Definitely. Yeah. Right. Otherwise I'll be I'm out.
Yeah, literally. It gets boring.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. What about if somebody's workplace is like my old, the job where the girl was mean, the office had no windows. It was in a dungeon. Can you be to your boss, guys,
get me out of this dungeon?
Can we get some windows?
I guess that also goes to the back of what we were saying with figure out this space before you take a job.
Yeah, okay, I shouldn't have taken it.
Yeah, girl, we need to talk about it. Really understand your surroundings. What is the environment like? Literally, the space. Do you have the flexibility to, so if you walk in there, you're this is a dungeon. I am depressed just being in here. Do you then, can you ask them, hey, what's your flexibility arrangements? Do we have the opportunity to go work at cafes, blah, blah, blah? Because if they're yeah, that's totally fine, you will catch me at a cafe, and that's for sure. So if you love the role, hate the environment, but you have this other option, like kind of figure out how you can make it work with you. But that is like everyone, you are literally working most of your life. If you're working 9 to 5 is in that kind of space. Everything has to be ticking your boxes. Like there's no point. Why would you do a job that you don't enjoy in a space you don't enjoy? No one's forcing you to do it. Get out of there. Do you know what I mean? Like, do not stick to the norm in that way. Just if you want to work for a company, find a company that you'd love to work for and your values align with theirs and it's an enjoyable space. If not, like work for yourself and make that something. Like you are not forced to being anywhere. Like don't do it. Do you know what I mean? You're not forced.
Yeah. There's a lot of job options.
So many options. Like and also if you are in a work space, like for example, like a High Smile, we're very rare, but if you do have those lovely work perks, really appreciate them as well, because like, for example, I will, my partner will come home from work and they don't even sometimes get they don't get lunch breaks, hardly ever, obviously, but like he sometimes will put his food like on a lunchbox on the floor or something, because there's like the fridges are full. Like they don't really worry too much about the team in that way. And I just get so sad. And I'm like, you guys deserve like we're so lucky here. Sometimes we complain, my coffee was cold.
Yeah.
Well, at least we get coffee. Do you know what I mean? So count your blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost get a bad job so you can appreciate the good one.
That's also such a thing. I love when people have come from shitty jobs and then they come to High Smile. I'm like, well, you'll appreciate this. But
yes.
If it's your first job, I'm like, you'll think this is normal.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
So that's a big thing as well.
I think having the comparisons, but it's all a learning curve. Like every single job I've learned so much and like it's never ever been a waste of time, because then that skill or that hard conversation or, that interaction with that person then carries out to another place, and then you can 100%. Be like, cool, now I know my worth, now I know how to ask for what I want, now I know how much I want to get paid. Yeah. Exactly
right. All you have to do is just know your worth, know your exit points, know who you are, know what your goals are in life. That's the biggest thing about setting your goals. Like you have to know yourself before you can go into working somewhere. Just like you have to know yourself before you go into a relationship with a partner. You need to know who you are. And I think it's really similar with a role for it to be successful, for sure.
Huge. Love this.
Love it.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add to this before we get on to the Fast Five?
All I'm just going to reiterate is do a job you're passionate about, because then you'll feel like you are never working a day in your life. That's the most important thing.
Do you agree with that statement?
I could not agree with it more.
Okay. What about when there's, parts of your job that you're like, I really don't want to do this?
That's hard, but then you know the majority and you think about all the surroundings. Like I literally love what I do, and I would do it without getting paid. This is my thing. If you would do a job without getting paid for it, that means you're in the right spot. I would do what I do without getting paid.
Huge.
Please don't not pay me.
But I'm not volunteering High Smile.
Not volunteering, but I love it.
Love it. Okay, wait. Also, this is genuinely out of curiosity, not a shameless plug, but High Smile does like all like toothpaste, teeth whitening stuff. Yeah.
That's right.
Your teeth look amazing.
Oh,
just saying.
So we are kind of like paving the way in like smile care. So just as we used to do skincare was never really a thing, hair care was never really a thing, and now that's just such a big focus in our like daily routine. Smile care should exactly be the same thing, because that's like your 100% your main point of confidence is like your smile. Are your teeth white? Are they bad? Are they falling out? You can literally prohibit that from early on. So but make it cool. High Smile's a vibe, branding, everything.
Literally.
So yeah.
I saw it at Coles the other day. I was like, oh, that is cute.
The toothpaste
AF branding.
is so good. Yeah, all the different flavour toothpaste. They're a vibe too.
There's different flavours?
Yeah, they're all different flavoured. You can make cocktails and mix them all together.
Make brushing your teeth fun.
No, literally. The other day, it was like maybe 2 p.m. and Matt was like brushing his teeth. I was like, what? He goes, I had a bit of a sweet tooth and I didn't want to eat any dessert. I was like, bro, that's crazy. So yeah, it's cool to get that kick out of toothpaste. Who knew it could be cool?
But it is. We're making it fun.
It's cool. It's fun.
All right. So we have the Fast Five.
Oh, let's do it.
So the Fast Five is where I ask you 5 questions. And you have to answer each question, whatever comes to your mind first.
Is it related to myself or the topics today?
Yes, you.
Okay,
it's you.
Cool. Right.
Yeah. This is Layla time.
All right, let's go.
Okay. This might not apply to you, but what is your morning routine during the week?
Oh, morning routine during the week is wake up, skincare, shower, sometimes fix your bed, always.
Always
Always fix my bed. I won't leave the house without fixing my bed. and then get in the car, listen to a podcast on my way to work, and do that.
Love it.
That's what I do.
Simple.
It's really simple, actually.
No, that's good. I feel like the simpler, the better.
Yeah, can't make it too complicated.
No.
And I'm not the biggest early morning riser.
Yeah, okay. Bit of a night owl.
Bit of a night owl.
Okay. Yeah.
Not too
See,
complicated.
knowing where your energy is.
Know where your energy's at. And that's fine. Everyone's waking up at 5 a.m. around you. Good on them. Not for me.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Love it. Not 5 a.m. gal.
Not 5 a.m. gal.
So us doing this podcast at 8 a.m. would have been a nightmare.
No, we'll make it 10.
When you said that last night, I was like, thank God.
I was like so excited for tomorrow, 8 a.m. Please say 10. Please say 10.
I know. I knew you were. That's why I was like, do you want to move it later?
Yes, please. Dead.
Okay. What's your go-to coffee order?
I don't drink coffee.
Okay, never mind. We're having a new question. What's your favorite book?
Well, I've been reading It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover.
Oh, I've heard Colleen
Yeah.
Hoover's good one.
So good. Honestly, really love them. Really rate it. Got so into it. I read the whole book within like less than 24 hours. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's really, really great. Loved it.
Okay.
It's a
I'll
vibe.
have to read that.
You have
I've
to.
just finished my fun book, I
Yeah, yeah.
like self-development books, but before
Yeah.
bed I have to read a fun book, otherwise my brain's too switched
I'm
on.
into read fun books, listen to self-development audio books.
I like that.
If you're going to walk, listen. I cannot read, like, you should do this in your routine. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm asleep.
Yeah.
But I'll listen and walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, listen to boring books or self-development books.
Yeah.
And then read the fun books.
Love it. Woo. Okay. What is your favorite quote?
Confidence is key.
Ooh.
If you do anything with confidence, you can get anywhere.
Oh,
My God,
yeah.
I can speak from experience on that. I literally think that I've got as far as I have just because I'm confident in myself.
Yeah.
And that's just like, know your worth, whatever. Life's not that serious. Not everyone's really talking about you. Just own it, girl. That comes from my grandmother. She's hilarious. She's so confident. But yeah, honestly, my partner always says that. He was like, I was like, when did you know that you liked me or whatever? And he goes, you walked into that room, you were so confident. He's like, it's like you gave me no other option but to like you. I was like, hell yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so just always be confident. Know who you are.
How'd you guys meet?
We met, it was so funny actually. I was going, it's like an ethnic group essentially. It's like, I'm Lebanese and I feel like I've never met another Lebanese person on the Gold Coast. And then one of my mates moved from Melbourne. He was like, oh, come to this group. We've got all these like ethnic friends. I was like, yay, other Arab friends. And then I walked into the room with my mate and then I look at Matt and I go to my friend Kira, I'm going to marry that guy one day.
No way.
And then Kira goes, oh, I don't know. He's got a girlfriend. And I was like, oh. Anyway, long story short, we're getting married.
Wait, how long was he with his girlfriend?
Oh, wow. But things don't work out. And that was like totally fine. But yeah, he's probably going to kill me for saying that. But yeah, everything happens for a reason. And then bumped into him quite a few times after like they'd broken up. And he'd be like, oh, let's go out, let's do this. And I really liked him. But I was like, I don't want to be a rebound.
Yeah.
Say no.
Yeah.
I said no like 5 times. And then I was like, if he asks me one more time, then he's like actually keen and I'm not a rebound. And I left it for like a year. And then he asked me out again and I was like, yay. And now we're engaged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
No. It was
a
like
lot of
it
time.
was a slow burn. We were friends
slow
for a
burn.
long time before it as well. You have
Yeah.
to be friends with someone first. Know who they are without them trying to impress you. Biggest thing ever. Yeah, we should do a whole nother relationship podcast because I love that stuff.
I love that. So the moral of the story, guys, is if he has a girlfriend, don't worry about it.
I'm not promoting that. But just because there's a girl, it doesn't mean you can't score.
That's what my brother always says. I do often think that, like, if I meet someone, I think like, oh my God, they're amazing. And then I find out they have a partner. I'm like, do you know what though? If it's meant to happen,
Yeah,
like, it'll happen.
Never interfere. Never interfere.
No,
with
I'm
someone
not
else's
saying that.
relationship.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no.
just like, trust the
But
process.
If organically, you're like, whoa, we have such a connection. If we're meant to be together, we will. If
Yeah.
not, at least we know we have a great connection. But yeah, I'm just lucky that ours ended up coming to play, and obviously did not interfere at all. But yeah, life was meant to take its course.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah,
What is your current favorite podcast?
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. It's very like tailored to me, but it's called Nearly Weds by Jamie Lang and Sophie Haboon.
Jamie Lang is so
But
funny.
You do not have to be getting married to listen to this podcast.
Okay.
So they'll occasionally talk like funny about planning their wedding, all my like a lot of my single friends listen to it. It is the funniest podcast. I wanted to pull over because I was laughing so much, I was crying. It's the best. Jamie Lang and Sophie Habu, Newlyweds.
I heard that they had something insane, like 15 million listens or something like that.
Oh, I wouldn't be
Like,
well.
they're huge.
I'm a religious listener.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
I was in the car with my mum the other day, and I was like, "So I just need to finish this episode." We're just driving, and I'm just listening to it. Like it's the best.
That's so good.
That's a really good one.
Okay, and if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, anyone in the world, who are you going to invite to this dinner party?
Oh, well, I feel like you're meant to be like, I don't know, someone interesting. Literally my grandma. She's so funny. I always want to have dinner with her. Probably her and then her parents.
Yes.
Because I just love to see their dynamic all together.
It would be so cool. Did you ever get to meet them?
No, they passed away before I was born. My grandma lost her parents when she was really young.
Aww.
So, but they were really close. And my grandma's dad was a doctor. And she reckons she's literally a secondhand doctor. So she always says, like, Dad said this, Dad said that. So I would just love to see them all together and see where she got her little personality from because it's so gone. So probably those 3 people, if I'm being honest. I think everyone who I get to dine with, every Tuesday night we have family dinner where all 20 of my family members, we all have dinner together at my grandparents' house. That table is just the best. So honestly, if I could just do that over and over, I don't think anyone could beat that. So I don't care how famous you are or whatever you did, that's where my heart is.
I love how
That's
much
where
of
I
a
wanna
family woman you are.
Oh, sometimes too much.
No,
I'm like,
it's
I don't need
amazing.
friends, I got my family.
No, I love it. When I came around for a family dinner one time, I still remember, I'm like, that was so amazing.
It's just the best. Like, I think it's, you all know each other more than anyone else. It's like, you don't have to explain why you're like this or why you're like that. And you can just slip on in and, it's just, you feel so like loved. And yeah, I feel very blessed. I know not everyone has that. So I'm very lucky.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was so good to catch up and have these chats. I love this. Anytime, I'll be back.
Yes. Anytime you need teeth whitening tips.
Yes. I'll be
Look
on.
at Layla.
Just brush your teeth, please.
She's not talking to me. She's talking
brush
to
your
you
teeth.
guys.
Know your exit points and just hustle hard and have fun in life. Life's too serious to not make fun of it. Do jobs you love and get on with it.
Life's too serious to not make.
Cut that part out.
Let's stay in it.
Life is not serious.
Yes. Yeah. No, all good. We get it. There's like a blinding light there and it's like a lot. Anyway, so if people want to find you and be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, reach out to me.
What is your Instagram?
Layla_Georgia is my Instagram. Please, I literally love when people message me and ask for any tips, whether it be nose jobs, career jobs, relationships, whatever it is. I always send little audio messages back.
Ooh, love a good voice note.
I'm not like a wise old woman, but I do love having chats. So reach out to me and I can help you with any questions you have.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where can we find you?
And my Instagram is @Andy.Bentley_. And if you guys did enjoy this podcast, please feel free to screenshot it, put it on your stories and tag us, as we'd love to know who's listening and where.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if you are also feeling crazy, like Crazy Cat, please leave a review. That really does actually help.
Crazy.
We've nearly hit 45 5-star reviews. Yeah, baby. But who's counting? Anyway, I'll see you guys next week for another episode. Thank you so much for listening. I love you all and I hope you have a beautiful day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.